Well, hello. I'd like to welcome you to another exciting episode of Pens in Use. Only this is an episode of Pens on the Road, because this week I was in Bismarck, North Dakota. So let's dive into the pens. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens, both new and old, and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And what do you think of Bismarck? Small, I suppose, compared to some cities, but for North Dakota, not bad. And to be honest, the downtown has always been somewhat attractive, but it's become a lot more interesting lately. But first, we're going to take a look at the pens. So the pens are from left to right, and not all of these went with me. This is a, whoa, Nelly, a Reform 4328, which somebody is very soon going to get one a lot like it in the mail. A because I'm giving it to him as a gift. Not this one, because I want one for myself, too. A Parker Duofold Streamline Junior, so 1920s Duofold. A Parker Slimfold, which is related to the Duofold. A Lamy 2000, which actually took a break while I was in Bismarck. I did my writing with a Parker Duofold Economy, and then one day I used my Schaefer Legacy till that ran out of ink, and then the next day I used this Sailor Realo. I had two colors of ink, in other words, mostly black and then some color just to highlight or whatever. I don't remember if I named this pen or not. I picked it up. So I'll name it again. Parker Duofold, modern. I know I pointed to it, but I'm going to give it a twirl. Sailor Realo. Kaweco. Kaweco Dia 803/07. I just got back from Bismarck, actually, so it's only 8:30, so it's not like it's late at night, but, you know, that whole being on the road thing and away from home for 2 days is kind of messing with my brain. And an Inoxcrom Caravel 1920. I had to replace these pens that used up their ink. So those are the pens that I've been using this week. As always, I'll be doing the writing samples in my Bomo art journal. It's still only September, but the S word has been tossed around as a possibility for weather this weekend. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping it'll wait till at least October, but then I realize that October starts on Tuesday. So, who knows? So this first pen, the Reform 4328, almost started writing with it. Well, I did, but I show it off a little better. I did a review on this one sometime back. Or was it a first impression? I don't remember now. You can click on the link in the video description. Not much to the body. It says Reform there. Nothing really written on this band. Nothing really written on the barrel. Nothing really written anywhere. And it has a delightful Bach nib. Piston filler pen. The ink in it was actually given to me by a viewer. One I don't know if I've ever seen for sale, but it must be for sale because he found a bottle somehow. It's called Diamine Skull and Roses, which is an interesting name for an ink. But then I think, there was a band here in the United States called Guns N' Roses, which is, again, an odd thing to put together. But I'm hoping when this ink dries, I can give you an idea why it's called this, because, of course, I did look it up. I didn't find it for sale on a lot of pen websites, but I found it on some. So we'll just let that dry, and I'll come back to it, I promise. Unless I forget, then I won't come back to it. My next pen a 1920s Parker Streamline Junior. That's squared off, which gives it that name. I think this would have made a good highlighter type of ink while I was in Bismarck this week, but I didn't use it for that purpose. I didn't use it at all. So this is a Parker Streamline Duofold Junior. Oops, D-U-O. Came out somewhat later than the original Duofolds. The ink in it is the very lovely Rohrer and Klingner. Let's see if I can spell Klingner correctly. Let's see if I can do an ampersand. Ugh. Okay, couple things that were a disaster this week. But I remembered the second N in Klingner, trying not to bring back memories of MASH. Rohrer and Klingner Alt-goldgrün. The nib always looks like it's not totally aligned, but it writes really well, so it's like, why would I mess with it? It doesn't feel scratchy. So, leave it alone, I think, is what I say. Mentioned last week that I have heard that this has a gold sheen. It's not something I have experienced for myself, even on Tomoe River paper, or, you can tell this is a very wet pen. That's part of why I put this ink in this pen. No such luck. Although it may be worth going back, except I did the exact same thing last week, and, it's not there. But you might be able to see, if the camera will pick it up, why this is called Skull and Roses. Okay, actually, I still don't know why the skull part. But you can see it's got a reddish sheen to it. I don't think this camera is picking up as well as I see it in flesh. Unless I move it a little, then it seems to pick up better. But it actually is sheening quite a lot. We'll see if we get any sheening here, but I rather doubt it. This was up last week. I honestly have not used it since I filmed this last week. I don't know why. I just haven't. So Parker Slimfold. I'm pretty sure this is a broad nib. In fact, I was given a chart for identifying broadness of nibs. It's out of sight. So I'll try to remember to show you that some weekend. Drawing a blank with this ink. Oh! I was about to go look at my list. Callifolio. Ohlanga. And I don't know why I get it in my head to say it that way. So I feel like it must be reminding my subconscious brain of a movie or something. Lately, I've been reading the Hyperion Cantos. I'm on the very last. It's a series of books by Dan Simmons of the Terror fame. I want to start the Terror one of these days, but first, I kind of got into the series on Amazon, and I'm like 2 episodes in, so I feel like I got to finish one or the other. So I'm going to finish the TV series first, and then I'll get I already have the book, and then I'll read the book. But finishing up the Hyperion Cantos, I remember buying that back in college and just I bought the second one and just going, huh? What? I don't get it. And I gamely put up with the whole thing because I knew what was going to happen. I remembered, but I don't know. It made a lot more sense this time. Wow, and I'm totally writing the wrong name of the ink. So anyway, I'm enjoying it very much. Very unique kind of future and very interesting tie-in of several. I don't know, the microphone's not turned toward me. I hope it's been recording so far. Whoops. But anyway, just a different kind of a future, some interesting technology, a little bit of time travel, and mystery. Sort of sees the internet, which I was barely aware of until later in college. Don't forget when I went to college before you laugh. But I don't know, it just turns out to be kind of interesting. And the immortality in it is very interesting. And scary. And also an interesting use of religion. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think I'll be sad when I finish this fourth book. That's a lot of what I did in the evenings while I was in Bismarck. You'd think I'd go whoop it up downtown and have fun, but did I? No. I think I totally forgot to show you my last two pens, because you don't care what I'm reading, really. Parker Slimfold. Lamy 2000. Usually my daily writer, but for some reason I did my note-taking with the Parker Duofold economy. And then a big but modern Parker Duofold. I was told this is kind of a feminine ink. I don't like that description, feminine or masculine, because what really is it? What makes pink a feminine color? You go back a few generations and they're going to say pink is the boy color because it's more energetic and girls need a more sedate color like a nice blue. Well, it's a little bit better ampersand. So that whole gender stereotyping based on color is just kind of boring. I forgot if that's Emma or Klara, which may have been a preview of things to come in a future video. Who's to say anything is necessarily masculine or feminine? Makeup seems like a pretty feminine thing to me. And yet, go back, men wore a lot of makeup, wore wigs, wore real fancy, ornate clothing. It's not as simple as people always like to think. It's not as black and white. So there's my editorial comment for the week. We'll see if I piss anybody off. This is my Sailor 1911, which after I ran out of ink in that Schaefer Legacy, because of course that's a fire hydrant, I needed a different color for my highlighter ink, and I don't know, yellow with the black just seemed to work. So this is my Sailor 1911 Realo. Pen doesn't look like much, I'll be honest. This is one of those pens that, I have it. I do have a Sailor or two that I like. I don't dislike this one. It just doesn't really excite me. So this is Robert Oster, Yellow Sunset. Kind of that color you get when it's not one of those glorious red and all the other colors. Just kind of, oh, look, the color is getting gold because the sun's going down. Usually good photography. They call it the golden hour. It's that time when you get the long shadows and the really gorgeous light. I've taken some amazing photos in that kind of light. Turns out you can get some amazing photos of people in that kind of light too. I don't like to show my people pictures on here for obvious reasons other than myself, but that is something I do. I take a lot of high school sports pictures and high school activities, so and a lot of pictures of people around town. So for obvious reasons, I don't share them on video. This is my Kaweco Dia 1930s pen. Definitely a pocket pen, probably a precursor to the Kaweco Sport. This one has an oblique medium nib in it. This is one of my early pens that I bought from myoberpens.com. So I did not restore this one. My main complaint with this one is that the piston is tight. And I really struggle when it comes time to clean this pen out. And so because I struggle to clean it out, I often don't ink it up in the first place. I may be sorry I put this color in it. Now, Callifolio is supposed to be a vintage-friendly brand. So we'll see what happens, but I will admit that it has been refilled once already. That Alt-goldgrün is almost dry, but let's give it one more pen. So I haven't had this one out since I did its first impression. But, you know, if I'm going to do first impressions and then eventually reviews, I think I need to, I don't know, actually use them a little. So this is a Inoxcrom Caravel. I have a Spanish pen here. Whoops, and I just started the wrong letter. This brand, pretty high quality pen, the steel nib. The brand actually went out of business, but apparently was purchased by its employees and is now making pens again. The ink in it is, not listed on my video description, but I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Noodlers. Cactus, eel, Gruene, or something like that. I may have the name out of order because I don't have it written down, but I will add it to my video description properly identified. So this is the Alt-goldgrün. Again, I don't see any sheen, and the ink was pretty heavy up in this corner. So, I don't know. Maybe I got a bad bottle. Maybe the person who says it has sheen is full of it. But, you know, this Skull and Roses is definitely sheening. I can see it on the camera there. Of course, like I said, I will correct the name of that last ink in the video description because I'm just drawing a blank right now. I'm going to take you over now to a little bit of footage of downtown Bismarck. People have remarked in the past when they've seen these pens on the road type videos that, where are all the people? It's like a ghost town. Well, a lot of times when I am able to record, it's just not at times when a lot of people were around. In Bismarck, this is kind of recorded between the hours of 4:30 to 5:30, so there were a few more people around. But another thing that I do is I try not to have real close-ups of people, so I'll often wait until there's not a lot of people around to film. So I'll make streets look emptier than they actually are. And another thing to keep in mind with a lot of the towns that I visit is a lot of downtowns here in North Dakota seem to roll up the sidewalks around 5:30 or 6. You know, go to my downtown after 5:30. The only things open are the bars. There's 2 of them. And the Chinese restaurant. Oh, and the Mexican restaurant if on the days that it's open. Everything else closes at 5:30. Used to close at 6 when I first moved here, but they all seem to have agreed to move their closing time back by half an hour. So, yeah, that's why it'll often look empty. Now, if I film downtown here, it's usually on a day when I'm not at work, which pretty much limits me to Saturday or Sunday. And I don't know, the times that I did film on a Saturday, it was when I could get to the post office and it was open. And back at that time, the post office opened around, what was it, around 1 or something? Weird time in the afternoon. Now they open at 11, so if I try it again, you may see more people around. I don't know. But anyway, let's take a look at Bismarck. I don't know what the video editing is like on a cell phone, so I guess I'll find out. But I had a photograph I put on Instagram last night of this in the dark, and I just thought let's level it here. I just thought I'd show it to you during the day. And I'm going to just take a walk out there in Bismarck. I'm staying in the Radisson. So, like I said, I stayed at the Radisson, which is right in downtown Bismarck, right by the Red Wing shoe store. And you're also looking at one of the many parking garages, the spirally one. Yeah, that store really exists in downtown Bismarck. Not legalized yet, but I think it's coming. Just a few views. This is a very good restaurant, Peacock Alley. I did not eat there, but it is very good, and it's underneath a very tall building. I'm guessing apartments. That used to be an excellent Mexican restaurant and the old depot. Now it's sitting mostly empty, which is kind of sad. I'm hoping somebody will do something with it. And just to look up one of the side streets, another parking garage. I think when you're a big city like that, you need parking garages. People drive everywhere. And then I was going to eat supper here, but then I didn't. Don't know why. But looked interesting. I wanted to try the bibimbap. This is Hancock Park, Fort Hancock. Kind of some old buildings from the founding of Bismarck. And I was enthralled. The reason I kept going here, I was enthralled by the train going by. A nice modern, this is the pusher train, juxtaposed with old-fashioned steam engine. Just a neat spot. Camp Hancock, I apologize. Well, hello. I am right now at Camp Hancock, which is where Bismarck kind of had its start. You know, it was an old army base and everything. The train behind me actually has very little relation to Camp Hancock, but there it goes. There's a church here, is where I guess the first non-Roman Catholic baptism took place here in Bismarck, and then the old building, which is the yellow house you saw in the close-up. And I'm right here on the main street in Bismarck, but it's just so quiet and peaceful here. It's like a little island off this big city street. And then here, standing on the front porch of that house, you can see and hear it's a lot louder. The park's just a little oasis. A little bit more, just looking at the business section. I don't know, I like Bismarck's downtown. It doesn't have the variety of some other towns, but it's an attractive downtown, and has strange combinations of streets. One ways, two lanes, 4 lanes, you know. Nice federal building. That's a Presbyterian church, which is a interesting building. I've never been in it, but it looks cool from the outside. And yes, a shoe repair shop, which is still in existence. And then looking down the hill, getting close to the Radisson, but another surprise coming in a minute. More diverse shops. Not a college town, although there are 3 colleges, but it is a nice town, and not the kind of downtown like Fargo I'd walk around in for hours, but definitely a downtown to explore. But look at this. Yes, a used bookstore right in downtown. That wasn't there when I used to live in the area. So apparently it hasn't been there for quite a year yet, but it already expanded to that side building. And I was impressed. And yeah, I had to park in a parking garage by the Radisson. Not fun. Very close quarters, and you feel like you're going to hit stuff, and you can see everywhere all these scars where other people have. And if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And what do you think of Bismarck? Does it have a nice downtown? And yeah, I ignored a lot of things about Bismarck. Maybe you could fill me in the comments about something important that I missed. There's a whole Capitol building. Yes, it's the state capital of North Dakota. There's a wonderful museum. There are 3 colleges in Bismarck, believe it or not. University of Mary, which is a Catholic college. BSC, Bismarck State College, which is run by the state of North Dakota. And UTTC, which is United Tribes Technical College. So 3 colleges in one city. If you're into that kind of thing, there is a mall, although I haven't been in it in a few years. There's a Barnes & Noble, so not just the bookstore you saw. There used to be 2 other used bookstores, but they involved driving to get to them, and I just didn't get around to it on this trip. And it's been a few years since I was at them, so I don't know if they're still around. One was the Owl, and the other one, drawing a blank on the other one. But anyway, I don't know if they're still around. And Bismarck, like most cities in the United States, has become one of those places where you just about have to have a car to get around. So, there is that. But anyway, it is a pleasant city. I realized once again that as much as I might talk about, retiring somewhere else or going to teach at a larger school or something, that I am kind of a small town guy. That's been my whole life. So I don't know, maybe I need to live somewhere where I can get to a city but then escape back to my small town. But anyway, yeah, I do like Bismarck. And, when I used to live closer to it, I would go there fairly frequently. Now that I live 3 hours away, not so much. But I was there, good conference. I will say, wherever I live, I hope I don't have to drive around a parking garage ever again, because that was scary, especially in an unfamiliar car. And the steep incline in my own car, where you have to stop at the top of the ramp and look for traffic, and you're like this, and it's a stick shift, a little uncomfortable. So anyway, I guess that's just as well. I was driving the school's car, and I didn't hit anything, so even better. So I don't know if I did my closing yet or not, but I'm pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure I was wandering through my closing, but if I didn't, just pretend I've done my closing. So, thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.